Hello friends, this is Dr. Amarjit Kaur. I am Professor of Accounting and Business Communication at the Department of Management, Gurugram University, Gurugram. I am author of 56 research papers and 9 books. It's my privilege that I am here with you today to discuss on employment communication. So the topic is very interesting, most relevant for all those people who want to make their career now, who have to make a beginning, or those people who want to switch off. So stay with me and we are going to discuss this very important topic in next few minutes. So friends, let's think, let's just try to visualize why is it so that millions and millions of graduates, they remain jobless. So people have studied, they have graduated, they have postgraduate degree in their hand, and they still remain unemployed, jobless, or they are not able to start their own venture, startup or whatever you may call. So why is it so? And this number is not small, this number is in millions. There are so many reports you may like to refer to. Certain reports says 36% graduates are unemployable. Certain other reports says about 50%, 46, 40. So their number varies from report to report. But somewhere about 35, 60% to 49, 50%. That is the range we get of the people who graduated from a degree college or who have postgraduate, but they are not able to find a job, they are not able to start their own venture. So this is something very serious and we need to think about it. There's one aspect, the demand aspect. Of course I understand that there's less demand than the people who are eligible to apply for a job. So the number of jobs offered is or available is less. And the second concern, those reports says there are positions, there are vacancies, the number of posts are available, but people do not match to the desired skill set. So that's something very important. It means it's just not the demand side, it's the supply side. So people who are coming up for applying for a job or who are they are not considered capable of carrying that particular job which has been advertised or which has been asked for. So it gives us an idea that how this employment communication topic is the very important topic in business communication. So just to give you an idea, employment means whatever activity we carry, which can help us generate legal income. Someone can generate income by gambling if gambling is not allowed. Even that is income, right? But that we cannot consider as employment. So any legal income generated through any activity is employment, be it serving as a marketing manager, HR manager, HR executive, marketing executive, salesperson, just an employee on a shop even. So but all these activities should be legal. So this is how we define employment. So this is how the employment is perceived, is conceived, is defined in the literature. Now employability. So before we talked about employment communication, so one is the employment, which is any legal activity with the help of which we can generate legal income. So employability is the skill and the ability of a person which allows him or her to be employed. So that's why we say, such a huge percentage of people are not employable. So they are graduate, so they may have the academic degree, but they lack in skill and ability, both or either of the two. So that's why we call them, they are not employable. But for the sake of better understanding, employability is having both skills as well as ability, with the help of which we are able to get employment and then to carry it, sustain it as well. So it's all about being capable of getting and keeping fulfilling work. So you could get some work, through your ability and skill set, But if you are not able to keep it up in or sustain it, even that questions your employability skill. So there are many people who are fired, after hiring within 10 days, 15 days of hiring. What does it mean? So they were hired by somehow some mistake, or the person who was hiring was little less competent to assess the employability skills of the person. He hired him or her, but has to fire him or her simply because he or she was not able to perform. Many times I agree that people are fired within few days simply because the project gets closed, project is stopped, like that. Those are also the reasons. But we are talking about the reasons within the person, the skills and the ability of a person to be employed. So it refers to the quality of being suitable for a paid work. So because as I said, it's a legal activity, any activity which pays you, which helps you earn income. So if you are paid for something, you are suitable for that job or not. So what is the quality of suitability for that work is employability. So basically employability is the capability of a person to move self-sufficiently within the labor market. We have work market, labor market, different sectors, different industries within the economy, so which generate labor, which generate employability. So a person should be capable enough to move himself self-sufficiently, that he or she is able to get into the job or the work, and he or she is able to sustain that work, right? So that's how we define employability. Now basically employability has certain levels of which a person need to demonstrate. The first is the level, or the the variable is the knowledge of the person. Then we have skills, abilities, work behavior, attitudes and value system. So all these variables are important, are essential in fact to be successful in labor market. So knowledge is what? Knowledge is understanding about any information. So teachers do teach, so they gain knowledge about, let's say, income tax by reading, practicing, and then they impart that knowledge with the students by teaching. So how does a person comprehend a particular information which is already available, right? Or how does a person adds to the body of knowledge, which is research. So knowledge is the comprehension of the information, comprehension or understanding about certain facts, figures or information. That's the knowledge. Now skill is basically applying that knowledge into practice. So I have the skill to, let's say, cook biryani, to cook any dish. So I have knowledge that, or information that a biryani requires vegetable, curd, salt, pepper, mint leaves, rice, etc., etc. But my skill would be if I am able to actually cook. So I may have read the recipe for 10 times, right? That is my knowledge. I may like to, I can make a speech on how to cook biryani, because I have knowledge about the recipe. But can I actually cook the biryani which I am talking in my lectures? That is what the skill is. Skill is to understand exactly, that I need to switch on the gas first, then put a cooker, pressure cooker or bowl or whatever, wherever I am cooking that biryani in. So that is my skill. So applying the information or the knowledge you have, or the comprehension of information. Basically information is there. How did you comprehend that information is your knowledge, and how do you apply that knowledge into practice is your skill set. Abilities are natural. Skills can be learned, can be actually by practice. One person can improve the skills. So one can hone the skills, as we say. So abilities are natural. So someone has natural ability to comprehend maths better than the other. someone has natural ability to read text, someone has the natural ability to comprehend science or numbers or whatever, right? So natural abilities to run fast. Someone can practice to run fast, can learn. Someone has the ability to speak well, public speaking. Someone has the ability to face audience, at a large scale. So certain abilities are basically the natural ones. So you may sometime you may have heard that the person cannot learn maths. It's not his or her cup of tea. Simply he is not made for it. These are the words we commonly or we keep on hearing from the teachers' feedback, from the teachers especially. So abilities are natural. How a person is naturally grown up. There are everybody has a different kind of brain. The activation of brain or the level of brain activity is different. So that's the ability. People are very good in drawing naturally. That's a natural ability, right? So someone can try to learn, but the natural ability is different than the skill. Work behavior and attitudes, they both are very important, and which adds to the employability, demonstration. How do you conduct at a workplace as an employee? That is what also decides your longevity at the work, right? Because as I said, employability is getting into the work and sustaining the same. And then the attitude towards different situation. How do we react to the situation, different scenarios, different situations, is what the attitude is. People are negative about something, people are positive about something, so that's their attitude. That what will happen if a new policy has been brought in, you will say, oh, you will try to find out some positive side of it if you have a positive mindset, positive attitude. The other person who has a negative attitude will try to find out something negative about any good initiative, whatsoever it may be. So that's the attitude. And then the value system also adds to the employability. Your integrity, your honesty, your sincerity, your discipline, all these things are also very, very important in deciding your employability level or skill. So there are three aspects to employability. One is malleable self-theory, second is self-awareness, and third is self-confidence. So what is malleable self-theory? So it was given by some two professors together way back, quite long back. I think it was Professor Kunda. So this theory says, what is how do you conceptualize things, right? So bad conceptualization, good conceptualization. So self theory about yourself. You think you are a very good learner, bad learner, you are a mediocre. So how do you conceive yourself in your own eyes is a malleable self theory. So people will conceive themselves differently. Everyone doesn't conceive himself and herself equally. So that is malleable self theory. So that is one aspect of employability. So if you think you are very, very good in let's say artificial intelligence, and you are sure that you can be you can be a very good candidate for a company, so you will present yourself accordingly. So how do you conceive about yourself is a malleable self theory. Self-awareness, how well are you aware about your strengths, weaknesses, about your capabilities, about the challenges you may have. And then self-confidence. So you may have self-awareness, you may have conceptualize your abilities, your skills, but how confident are you about that? That level varies from person to person. People may have some idea about themselves, they may have conceived themselves in a certain way, they are aware of their limitation or the challenges or even the strengths they have, but the self-confidence level varies from person to person. So these three things are very important aspects of employability for anyone. So we follow 4 C's of employability: critical thinking, creativity, collaboration and communication. if you see, I have really tried to color this word communication, the fourth C, right, out of these 4 C's. So, critical thinking is the first important skill in the 21st century. Nowadays, if you go Google any website which is posting for employment opportunities, you will see soft skill, the communication and the critical thinking. These are the top most prioritized requirement in any candidate. So, person should have critical thinking and person should have good communication along with creativity and collaboration. Okay, so creativity is that doing the same thing differently, or doing the same thing in a new way. So, how creative you are about a process, an idea, a fact, a production, it could be any activity, any business activity. Collaboration, how good you are as a team member, how well you can collaborate with others for a work, for a project, for a product, right? And the communication, are you able to communicate about the product you are dealing with, the project you are dealing with, the progress you are making in the project or the product, the R&D, whatever the area you are. Can you communicate well about the policies, about the changes you need to propose, any aspect you may assume. So, these are the 4 C's of employability which are looked after now. So, there were days when they were not talked about, but nowadays, if you refer to this book, by Yuval Noah Harari's 21st Lessons for the 21st Century. So, these are the 4 top-notch skills or attributes they are expected in a prospective employee, which is critical thinking, creativity, collaboration and communication. Now, I will come to employment communication, the topic, the theme which we have for today's session. So, employment communication means the way or the ways through which job seekers, they pursue the employer, the prospective employer. So, how do you pursue? So, that is what is your employment communication. So, so that you could get hired. So, you have to demonstrate your knowledge, your expertise, any skill you have to satisfy the job requirements in the best possible manner. So, that is what employment communication is. So, communicating about your knowledge level, about your expertise level, about the skill set you have, and also to communicate that yes, I am the candidate who fulfills the requirements of a particular job advertised, right? So, any way or ways you follow, the practical ways you follow, and you reach out to job seekers in the persuasion of this employment, right? Where you are demonstrating very well all these aspects of employability. So, that is what employment communication is. So, it refers to the communication that mostly revolves around written communication or telephonic communication between employer and the job seekers before personal interview. Because personal interviews are generally, they involve verbal and non-verbal communication both. Right? Personal interviews, sometimes you are given some piece of paper and a pencil to draw something, to show some flow chart or show some process to assess your knowledge level. But most of the time the personal interview is verbal and non-verbal communication, and prior to that level, if you reach to that PI level, prior to that level your most of the written communication will be written communication or telephonic communication if you are making a follow-up call. So, most of the time written communication. We have seen students preparing their resume, their CVs. There is a difference between the two for sure, right? So, and then submitting it. What is that? That is written communication. So, you are actually reaching out to the prospective employer through the CV and showing your interest in a particular job, right? Indicating that you are interested for this particular job. And when you have actually reached to the PI level after screening, after all those stages, then you are facing the employer, the interviewer or the interview panel, and communicating about your skills, about your abilities, about your knowledge level. So that's what the employment communication is. There's another aspect to employment communication. It refers to communication used by employers for employees. Recent, like last few minutes, I was talking about an employee reaching out, or rather a prospective employee reaching out to the prospective employer. That was one aspect. The another aspect is that employers reaching out to employees. So how do they reach out? So why they are reaching out to the prospective employee? They are inviting applications against a particular position. Then they are shortlisting and they are accepting applications for a job. So this is the communication from employers to employees. That's the another aspect of, even that is also known as employment communication. So which means if you learn employment communication, and if you are working in an HR department and you are advertising for a post, then you are writing a letter to the shortlisted candidate, you are issuing a list. So all this is from your side as an employer to the prospective employee, and this will also be known as employment communication, right? So when you need employment communication at your when you are working and you are studying, what are the situations, what are the areas or those situations when will you need this employment communication? So one is nowadays most of the business houses, especially the business schools, they are promoting that students should go for live project even during the course period. 1 month time, 2 months time, 3 months time are allowed for live project. Sometimes students do go and work in the premises, sometimes people work while staying at the campus itself. So all kind of models are available. So what is live project? Some problem solving, some statement, some problem, some situation, some activities given to students, and they are told to take up that project, work on that project. So how would you get that? One is that your school, your university, your college get an option, and then they advertise and they request or students to opt for it if it is of your interest, and then they prepare a list and send it to the prospective employer or the recruiter who is looking for candidates. That's one way. Another is that you as an individual, you reach out to companies requesting for absorbing you in a project, doing a live project. So let's say a company wants to launch a new product. Before launching the product, they are keen to carry a market survey, and for that they are hiring students. So live project to solve a problem, that shall we be launching this project or not. It's a kind of market survey, but this is a live project for a student to be involved in. So that's how it works. So when you are applying for live project, you have to put up an application, a request, a cover letter along with your CV or your resume. It all depends if it is one pager or more than that. And then this communication is employment communication, because in future, so you are employed on payment basis for 15 days, for 20 days, for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. Generally live project has shorter duration, but you may not be on a regular role. You could be just a team member. You could be on regular role for certain if the project length is longer. It all depends. It varies from situation to situation. So that is the first instance or the situation when you will be required to communicate for employment. The second is internships. So internships are very, very common. So most of the good business schools, they have internships ranging from 2 months to 3 months to 6 months. So especially the areas where let's say MBA in hospitality management. So there the internship could be for 6 months. So retail management, there are areas when internship has longer duration, so it varies from curriculum to another curriculum. But if a student has to apply for an internship, what he or she is supposed to do? He or she is supposed to prepare his CV, resume, make a cover note, highlight what is so good about his capabilities that the company should offer him or her an internship opportunity. So that is also an employment communication when you are writing or reaching out to a company, because most of the internships are paid. Okay, and there are good students who are able to get PPO, pre-placement offer, during the internship itself. Lastly, the person may be using employment communication at the time of final placement. This is the most important one. When you are actually looking for a final placement post your internship, generally then you need to have your CV ready, the same thing, but only the cover letter would be different. And by that time you may need to exhibit whatever you have gained or knowledge, experience through live project, through internship, etc. And after that, when you are placed, whenever you are changing, I didn't write it here because I know I am addressing students most of the times. So when you have to change your job, you are in the job, you have been working from couple of years and you need to change the job. You have been asked to change, you want to change yourself, whichever the reason could be, whatever the reason could be. So even that follow-up communication with different prospective employers is also employment communication. You are actually writing for a job only, right? After once you place. So when if you are going for second time, third time, 10th time, maybe people change a lot of jobs nowadays. Even that is a placement communication, right? So these are the areas where employment communication is important. We will talk about this in detail further in the next few minutes. Thank you very much, friends, for being with me. Thank you.